Hello, thank you for joining me to examine why it's important to get students involved in class discussions, as well as some strategies by which to do just that. A student-centered teaching approach piques student interest, leads to higher rates of engagement, and fosters an environment of inclusion, all outcomes that we, as educators, hope to accomplish. Today, I'll delve into incorporating the diversity board and Twitter into the classroom to stimulate discussion. The diversity board provokes students to examine the meaning of diversity and contemplate its effect on behavior and communication between people. Dillon and Mabin randomly assigned students one of 35 roles based on race, ethnicity, religion, health, or other diverse statuses in a diverse society. Once all students receive a role, they're placed in small groups where they offer their preconceived notions and prejudices associated with their own particular roles, as well as those of the other students in the group. Students then conduct research about their role in society. They are asked to consider various questions, including how do other stereotypes affect your communication? And what types of prejudice do you encounter in your personal and professional lives? While the authors do not provide specifics about how students should conduct such ethnographic research, students might join, observe, and then interact in online forums or follow specific hashtags dedicated to the group to which they were assigned. Students are then asked to reflect from their own perspective. What have you learned about the role that you previously did not know? How does this new knowledge influence your perception of those who actually possess this role in real life? What difficulties did you have in assuming this role? Finally, students share their findings with the class through a live oral presentation or pre-recorded video. According to Dillon and Mabin, these presentations allow students to uncover common themes, some of the difficulties and challenges of communicating in a diverse society, and realize the rewards and new understanding gained by communicating with others who are different from them. The research strongly indicates that the diversity board is an excellent learning activity to promote classroom discussions and inclusivity. Once students recognize common themes that emerge around diversity, they begin to understand what we have in common and the goals we seek to attain together, making the differences between us less threatening. This learning activity assists students facing complex and ethnically varied communication contexts, not only in the classroom, but also in their future professions and private lives. Like the diversity board, social media can provide educators with a valuable tool to facilitate their communication with students and students' interactions with one another. At the same time, social media engages students through its inherent multi-sensory nature and deepens students' content mastery. Schroeder, Minoka, and Schneider found that integrating social media into the learning context can trigger significant educational innovations as they enable new forms of interactive and collaborative learning. Such interaction and collaboration not only stimulates classroom discussion, but also fosters an environment of inclusivity. Abe and Jordan confirmed that social media encourages students' interaction with one another and stimulates engagement and interest in the actual course content. Abe and Jordan also noted that classroom discussions can be invigorated by the introduction of previously unavailable guest lecturers through the means of Skype or Zoom. Burke has shown that the incorporation of social media in the classroom is an important supplemental tool for learning. Moran, Seaman, and Tinte Kane demonstrate that social media offers a practically endless amount of previously unattainable information, finding that 30% of all teaching faculty have posted content for students to view both in and outside of class. This finding supports Mayer's cognitive theory of multimedia learning's third main assumption that learning is a dynamic exercise of processing, discerning, choosing, and integrating information. Furthermore, social media adds a plethora of auditory and visual apparatus in the educator's toolbox of learning. Educators can use a variety of different social media platforms, such as blogs, wikis, podcasts, Facebook, and Twitter to increase student engagement, stimulate discussion inside and outside of the virtual or physical classroom, and mitigate student absence due to geographic or other factors. Abe and Jordan discussed the use of social media as a tool to encourage critical reflection by instructing students to produce blog entries and engage in discourse through Twitter. Alafsky, Mislan, and Alafsky describe how educators can utilize social media rather than attempt to combat it as a foe that distracts students. Their study focused on the integration of Twitter in a large lecture class to facilitate student participation and engagement. By permitting students to respond to questions and share opinions by tweeting during class, as well as to complete later assignments, the instructors encouraged new patterns of social engagement and found that students were less likely to check their email or Facebook during class. By viewing classmates' responses and opinions through a shared hashtag, the authors discovered that a more free classroom discussion environment emerged. Moreover, Alafsky, Mislan, and Alafsky learned Twitter improved enthusiasm and participation in the course. Junko, Heiberger, and Loken corroborated that using Twitter in educationally relevant ways had a positive effect on student engagement. Blankenship pointed out that social media enables individuals who are otherwise unable to attend a classroom due to physical, financial, or geographical limitations to participate in the intellectual and social life of a campus. Stimulating discussion is not always easy, particularly in an online learning environment, but it's a vital component of a welcoming class environment. The Diversity Board holds great promise in increasing students' empathy and thereby their willingness to communicate with one another. Social media uses in the classroom has a multitude of benefits, especially in terms of increasing communication between not only teacher and student, but also among students themselves. With an unimaginable ceiling, social media seemingly limitless growth and innovation offers novel approaches to creating a greater sense of inclusion in both in-person and online learning contexts. Thank you.